Ahlan and welcome to episode number 4 in our Let's Learn Arabic course. Today we will be focusing on word gender. If this is your first time joining us, or if you would like to go through any of our previous lessons, by all means feel free to click the link above. And we will now proceed with today's class. So today's lesson objectives are to learn about word gender, to learn some new vocabulary, and as usual we will perform 2 translation exercises inshallah. Arabic words are divided into 2 categories, feminine and masculine. Whilst this concept may seem unfamiliar to many English speakers, this is standard practice in most languages in the world. The golden rule to remember is that all words are masculine until proven feminine. So how can we tell if a word is feminine or not? Feminine words usually have a sign of femininity. This in Arabic is known as alamat at-ta'nith. Therefore, in this section, we will be focusing on alamat at-ta'nith, the signs of femininity. So sign number 1, and this is the main sign, the most common sign, is this little ta that you can see here. This ta is known as at-ta al-marbuta. It is also sometimes known as ta at-ta'nith. So this sentence reads at-ta al-marbuta aw ta at-ta'nith. We have learned in previous classes that aw means or. So this sign, if you see this sign on a word, this little ta, it generally means the word is feminine. And most masculine nouns can be made feminine by suffixing this. For example, we have the word here, ibn. Ibn means son. So if we wanted to make this word feminine, we can do so by adding the ta marbuta. So ibn becomes ibna. The way to make masculine words feminine by adding the ta marbuta is as follows. All you have to do is add a fatha to the last letter and then add a ta marbuta on the end. And this can be used for most words, as you can see in the example here. In ibn, I've left the noun with no harakat on it. But to make it feminine, all we have to do is add a fatha to the noun here, and then add the ta marbuta, and then ibn, son, has become ibnat, daughter. But do note, some words have a ta marbuta on the end, however they are masculine, and we will only know this because of context, because they refer to males. For example here, Talha and Usama, these are names of males. They're masculine names, but they have the ta marbuta on the end, therefore they are not feminine. Likewise, Khalifa refers to the leader of the Muslims. It's a feminine word, but it refers to males. And sometimes we have unisex words such as allama, which refers to a very learned person, such as scholars, allama. You would hear many times they refer to as allama. This word can be used for males and it can also be used for females. The second major sign of femininity is al-alif al-maqsura. Al-alif al-maqsura simply just means the elongated alif. So if you were to look at the word husna in the example below, as you can see, it has this little elongated alif. In many of the South Asian languages, this is often known as a kharazabar or a karizabar. Those of you who are familiar with tajweed, you will be aware that in this situation you stretch it. So instead of reading it as husna, it is read as husna. This elongated alif, known as al-alif al-maqsura, generally signifies femininity. And the third classic sign is al-alif al-mamduda. This is the extended alif, as we can see in the example below, Zahra. Here, this alif has been extended. And those of you who are familiar with tajweed are aware that this is known as mad wajib or mad wajib muttasil. When reading this word in the Quran, in the Mus'haf, you will usually see it has a squiggly line on it, indicating that you stretch it. So if this was Quran, we would read it as Zahra. Likewise, in the second example, we will read it as Husna. It will be stretched. So these two signs are also alamat at-ta'nith. So to recap, there are three major signs of femininity. Ta al-marbuta, at-ta al-marbuta, which is the round ta. This is the major sign of femininity. Most words that have this on it are feminine, and likewise most masculine nouns can be made feminine by adding this on. The second one is al-alif al-maqsura, the elongated alif, and the third is al-alif al-mamduda, the extended alif. However, we do have some words that are feminine, but they show no obvious sign of femininity. These are known as mu'annath sima'i. These are heard feminine words, meaning they have been used as feminine without any obvious sign. It's just we've heard it and we use it as feminine. Through the study of language, grammarians have noticed that mu'annath sima'i generally fall into certain categories, such as number 1, words referring to women. As we can see in the example, Hind. Hind is a woman's name in Arabic. Because it is a woman's name, it is a feminine word. Likewise, urus. Urus means bride. Just like in English, even though in English we don't usually have gendered words, we do sometimes. A bride in English refers to a woman. Bridegroom refers to a man. In Arabic, urus is bride, therefore it is a feminine word. And another example is means mother. Your mother is a woman, therefore it is a feminine word. Names of countries are also feminine, such as Misr. In this example, Misr is a country, Misr is Egypt. In today's modern Arabic, Misr, Egypt, is sometimes known as Masr. However, in standard Arabic it is Misr. Likewise, Hind is also the name of the country India, or the region of India. Therefore, it is also a feminine word from two sides. From the side of being a name referring to a woman, and because it's the name of a country. Also, number 3, body parts that are in pairs are feminine. In the examples below, we have yad. Yad means hand. Hands come in pairs, therefore it is a feminine word. Rijl means leg. Legs come in pairs. Udhun means ear. Ears come in pairs. Ayn means eye. Eyes come in pairs. Generally, therefore, body parts in pairs in Arabic are feminine. And number 4 refers to an exception. There are some words that are feminine, but they have no obvious sign of femininity. However, Arabic speakers have used these words as feminine for thousands of years. Therefore, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Examples of this is ard. Ard means earth or land. Harb. Harb means war. Khamr is alcohol or wine. Rih refers to the wind. Rih means wind. Shams is the sun. Nar is fire. And nafs is your inner self or your soul. These words, despite having no obvious sign of femininity, have been used as feminine words for thousands of years. Therefore, who are we to change that? If you remember, in the last lesson, we went over the adjectival compound, murakkab tawsifi. If you've missed it, or if you want to recap, by all means, feel free to click the link. But we mentioned that the sifa, the adjective, corresponds to its noun, the mawsoof, in definitude, right? If the mawsoof is definite, so is the sifa. I briefly mentioned that they also correspond in gender. So we know if the mawsoof is feminine, so is the sifa. If the mawsoof is masculine, so is the sifa. And that concludes the theory aspect of today's lesson. So just for a recap, in Arabic, words are of two types. So remember, kalima means word. A kalima can be mudhakkar, which means masculine, or it can be mu'annath, which means feminine. I mentioned that all words are masculine until proven otherwise. We learned that there are 3 major signs of femininity, and the signs of femininity are known as alamatut ta'nith. The main sign, number 1, is ta marbuta or ta'ut ta'nith at the end. We also mentioned that most masculine words can be made feminine by adding the ta marbuta. I gave the example of ibn. Ibn means son. Ibnah means daughter. So if you want to make the word ibn feminine, I mentioned you add a fatha to the last letter, and then you simply add the ta marbuta on the end, and you can do this for many words. For example, katib. Katib refers to a masculine writer, a male writer. It's a masculine word. If you want to make it female, if you want to make it feminine, all you do is you add the ta marbuta on the end. So katib becomes katibah. It is now a female writer. Student, talib. If you want to make it feminine, you just have to add the ta marbuta. Talib becomes talibah, a female student. So talib is a male student, talibah is a female student. I mentioned the second major sign of femininity is al-alif al-maqsura, which is al-alif al-maqsura. Excuse my handwriting today. Al-alif al-maqsura is the elongated alif, such as husna is this elongated alif that we see on words husna, or kubra. As you can see, it's usually sat on this little ya as well. This extended alif is another sign of femininity. Husna, kubra, many words like this. And the third major sign was al-alif. Al-alif. I just realized I wrote al-af. This should say al-alif. Al-mamdud. That is the extended alif. So it has this on the end. So Zahra, for example, Zahra has this alif and then a hamza at the end. The reason why I'm not drilling too much of the theory into your minds in today's class is because, for the most part, these two cases are not super common. The main one to learn is at-ta al-marbuta. Generally, you will learn this through practice. Theory is one thing and practice is another, and you have to practice to learn it. But as long as you learn that there are 3 signs of femininity: And this brings us to some new vocabulary for today. I will read them and their meaning, and as usual I still recommend that you write these words in a notepad or however you learn best. So number one is balda. Balda is a city. Number two is al-hakim. Al-hakim means the wise. Allah al-hakim, Allah the wise. Shadid means severe. Sadiq means truthful. For example, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was as-sadiq wal-amin, the truthful and trustworthy. Tali' means rising, such as the rising sun. Tawil means tall or long. Gharib means setting, such as the setting sun. Faridah means obligatory, such as the salah. Fatima is the name of a woman. Al-Quran is the Quran, the holy book of the Muslims. Qasir means short. Qalb means heart. Mutma'in means peaceful. So qalb, mutma'in is a peaceful heart. Muqada or muqada means ignited, something that has been set on fire. And nahar is a river. Just to recap what I mentioned today, that the sifa follows the mawsuf in gender. Here is a good example. Tali' means rising. So I mentioned rising sun. So let's just write here Shams. Ash-Shams, the sun. I added alif lam to make it definite, as we have covered in previous classes. Now we can't say Ash-Shams at-Tali' because this is grammatically incorrect. Shams is a feminine word, remember? So we would have to say Ash-Shams at-Tali'. Can you see I made this word Tali' feminine by adding a fatha to the last letter and adding the ta marbuta. So Ash-Shams at-Tali'ah, the rising sun. There's some things that you should bear in mind. I added alif lam to make this indefinite word, this nakira word, ma'rifah. Therefore, the sifa, the adjective, has copied the mawsuf in definitude, as we have mentioned in previous lessons. Likewise, the sifa has also copied the mawsuf in gender, because the sifa copies the mawsuf in definitude and gender. This now brings us to the translation exercises. Once again, I suggest you pause the video and you complete these exercises yourself, and then feel free to check back with my translations. Number one, an-nafs al-mutma'inna. That is the peaceful soul. It is mentioned in the Quran in Surah Al-Fajr. Ya ayyatuha an-nafs al-mutma'inna. An-nafs al-mutma'inna. So let's drill into this word a little bit. Remember, I said that first and foremost, we can see that this is a murakkab tawsifi compound. It is an-nafs is the word being described, and al-mutma'inna is the adjective. So first and foremost, an-nafs here is definite, as we can see with the alif and lam. Therefore, the sifa is also definite. An-nafs is feminine, therefore the sifa is also feminine. Example number two, Laylat tawila. Laylatun tawila. Layla means night. Tawila means long. A long night. I translated it as a long night because Layla is indefinite. It is nakira. So number three is Al-Quranul Hakim. the wise Quran. Number 4 is rihun shadidah. Rihun shadidah is a strong or a severe wind. Al-Khalifatul Adil is number 5, which is the just ruler of the Muslims. Now you might be wondering, why is a ta marbuta here but not a ta marbuta here? As I said, al-Khalifa is a word which appears feminine because it has the ta marbuta. However, it is masculine in usage. Therefore, the sifa al-adil must correspond to its noun in gender. So al-Khalifatul Adil is the just ruler, or the just ruler of the Muslims. The just caliph is how it will be translated literally into English. Number 6 is baldatun tayyibah wa rabbun ghafur. That is a good city and a forgiving Lord. Number 7 is darun azimah, a great house. Dar means house. Narun muqada, or you could say narun muqada, is an ignited fire, so a fire that's been lit. Number 9 is ibnatun salihah. This is a pious daughter. Number 10 is hindun as-sadiqah. So Hind, as we said, is the name of a woman, and as-sadiqah is the sifa. Sadiq means truthful or sincere. Hind is a feminine word, therefore sadiqah will be used. As you can see here, it has alif lam. That's because Hind is ism al-alam, is the name of a person, and names of people are always definite. Therefore, the sifa, the adjective, is also definite. Therefore, Hindun as-sadiqah is referring to Hind, the truthful person or the honest person. Number 11 is al-arusul hasana, the good bride. Number 12, ash-shamsu at-tali'ah wal-qamarul ghalib. This means the rising sun and the dominant or the overpowering moon. Al-qamar is the moon. So qamar means moon, and ghalib means dominating or overpowering. As-salatul faridah is number 13, which means the obligatory or the compulsory salah. As-salah is compulsory 5 times a day. Number 14 is Fatimat az-Zahra. Fatimat az-Zahra. This is Fatima the Radiant. This name refers to the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Number 15, al-ibnatul husna, the beautiful daughter. Number 16 is harbun tawila, a long war. Number 17 is tarafatul sha'ir. Tarafa is the name of a poet, and sha'ir is poet. So tarafat ash-sha'ir means tarafa, the poet. And number 18 is Rashidun al-Allama. Rashidun al-Allama is Rashid, which is once again the name of a person. Al-Allama means a very learned person or a very learned scholar. So this means Rashid, the scholar. And this brings us to an English to Arabic translation. And as usual, I would suggest you pause this video and complete the translations yourself, and then come back and check with mine. It's worth noting that I've omitted translation number 9 from the textbook because personally I don't feel like it was a very good example to use. So now we will proceed with my translations. Number 1, a beautiful girl, is Ibnatun Husna, or as if you remember from previous lessons, I said we can use Jamila as well. So Ibnatun Husna or Ibnatun Jamila, both are acceptable. Number 2, the pious caliph. That's Al-Khalifa As-Salih, Al-Khalifatu As-Salih. Number 3, the wise man, is Ar-Rajul Al-Hakim الرجل الحكيم. Number 4, the obligatory zakah is الزكاة الفريضة. Number 5, an obligatory salah is صلاة فريضة. So the number 4 refers to the compulsory zakah, therefore it is ma'rifah, it is definite. And number 5 is asking for an obligatory salah, so it could be referring to either Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib or Isha. So Salatun Faridah. Number 6 is a short night, that is Laylatun Qasirah. Number 7 is referring to the big day, which is Al-Yawm Al-Kabir. Number 8 is referring to the good thing, which is Al-Shay' Al-Tayyib or Al-Shay' Al-Jayyid. Number 9, as I mentioned, I've skipped it because I don't think it was the best of examples to use. Number 10 is the setting sun and the rising moon, which is Al-Shams Al-Ghariba, that is the setting sun. Wal-Qamar Al-Tali'. Shams, the sun, is feminine, therefore Ghariba is feminine, and Qamar, the moon, is masculine, and therefore Al-Tali' is masculine. Number 11, Al-Rih Al-Shadida is the severe wind. The severe wind is Al-Rih Al-Shadida. We mentioned that Rih, wind, is a feminine word. Number 12, the long river is An-Nahr Al-Tawil. And number 13 is the long war, Al-Harb Al-Tawila. I got them the wrong way round in my own translations, but as you can see, An-Nahr is masculine and therefore Al-Tawil is also masculine. Al-Harb is feminine, therefore Al-Tawilah is feminine. Number 14 is the short hand, which is Al-Yad Al-Qasira. Number 15 is the peaceful heart, that is Al-Qalb Al-Mutma'in. Number 16 is Muhammad the pious, that is Muhammad As-Salih. And number 17 is Fatima, the very learned Fatima. Fatima the very learned, or the very learned Fatima, that is Fatima Al-Allama, Fatimatul Allama. And that brings us to the end of today's lesson. In the next lesson, we will learn the difference between singular and plural words. If you have any questions, by all means feel free to leave them in the comment section and I will get back to you, inshallah. Likewise, if I have not explained something properly or you feel like you've not understood something properly, by all means feel free to leave a comment and I will get back to you, inshallah. Of course, before we go, I'd just like to ask you to like, comment and subscribe, inshallah, for more videos in the future. Ma'as salama, take care, and I'll see you on the other side.